Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's F1 News. We are absolutely stacked with stories today as the Formula One world gears up for the Miami Grand Prix. We've got a teenager leading the Drivers' Championship, major rule changes coming into effect, a driver market that's starting to heat up, and some seriously exciting livery rumors out of McLaren. Buckle up, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the story that has everyone talking. The incredible rise of Kimi Antonelli at the top of the 2026 drivers' standings. According to motorsport.com, F1 commentator Alex Jacques has come out and said that Antonelli's early season form should be a genuine wake-up call for his Mercedes teammate George Russell. Heading into this season, Russell was widely considered the favorite for the title, and honestly, that was a fair assessment. But Antonelli has completely turned that narrative on its head. The 19-year-old Italian has taken back-to-back wins at the Chinese and Japanese Grand Prix, and those results have put him at the very top of the championship standings. Russell still has everything in front of him, but the message is clear: his younger teammate is not here to play second fiddle. And if you're wondering how Antonelli got to this point so quickly, Mercedes deputy team principal Bradley Lord has an explanation. Motorsport.com reports that Lord believes Antonelli effectively crammed 3 full years of Formula One learning into his 2025 rookie season. Stepping straight into a top team after Lewis Hamilton's departure was never going to be easy, but Antonelli handled the pressure brilliantly, finishing 7th in the standings in his debut year. That foundation built in 2025 is now paying serious dividends. Lord says all of that experience is what's allowing the teenager to look so composed and controlled at the very front of the grid. And composure is exactly the word. Motorsport.com also reported that Mercedes even shared a light-hearted garage prank they pulled on Antonelli to, as Bradley Lord put it, keep him grounded. At just 19 years old, leading the Formula One World Championship is an almost surreal achievement, and it sounds like the team is doing everything they can to make sure the pressure doesn't get to him. From the outside, though, he looks anything but rattled. Now let's talk about something that has been frustrating drivers, teams, and fans alike since the very first race of this new regulatory era, the 2026 Power Unit Regulations. As Motorsport.com has been reporting, the new rules have been causing real headaches, particularly in qualifying, where drivers have been forced to lift off the throttle and coast in order to manage their energy deployment. On top of that, the elevated closing speeds between cars raised legitimate safety concerns. But there is good news heading into Miami. Motorsport.com reports that F1 stakeholders used the April break to hammer out a package of rule tweaks that will come into effect at the Miami Grand Prix. The changes focus mainly on energy management, specifically a reduction in how much energy can be harvested, plus an extension of what's called super clipping up to 350 kilowatts. In plain English, the cars should be more manageable in qualifying, and that dangerous closing speed issue should be significantly reduced. McLaren have been particularly vocal about welcoming these changes. According to motorsport.com, the Woking outfit believes that qualifying lift and coast should, in their words, no longer be a thing after these tweaks come in. And Oscar Piastri has added further context, telling motorsport.com that drivers have essentially had to go looking for data points they've never had to analyze before just to get the best out of the cars in qualifying trim. The whole approach to a hot lap has needed to be reinvented from scratch. It's a fascinating insight into just how different these 2026 cars really are. And while Autosport is also reporting that the door remains open for further hardware changes down the line, for now, Miami should give us a much better picture of what these cars can truly do. Moving on, and this is a story that really puts the human side of Formula One into perspective. Motorsport.com reports that Oscar Piastri has opened up about why his second-place finish at the 2026 Japanese Grand Prix actually meant more to him than more than half of his 9 Formula One victories. To understand why, you have to look at where Piastri was at the start of this season. At the Australian Grand Prix, his home race, he crashed on the reconnaissance laps before the race had even started. He didn't turn a wheel in anger. For a driver of Piastri's caliber, that is a brutal way to begin a year. So arriving at Suzuka, there was real pressure on him to bounce back and remind everyone what he's capable of. And he did exactly that. A second-place finish might sound like a modest result on paper, but Motorsport.com explains that given the context, the rocky start to his season, the emotional weight of coming back strong, Piastri says that podium felt genuinely special. It's a reminder that in Formula One, the story behind a result can matter just as much as the result itself. Piastri is clearly in a good headspace heading into Miami, and with McLaren's car looking increasingly competitive, you wouldn't bet against him going one better in Florida. Now let's shift to the F1 driver market, which is always a hot topic. And according to motorsport.com, things are starting to move, albeit slowly. The big headline here is that negotiations for both Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have been put on hold for the time being. Motorsport.com explains that this isn't hugely surprising given the context. The start of the 2026 season has been dominated by technical issues and questions around the new regulations, meaning that teams and drivers have been far more focused on the on-track picture than locking down future contracts. Initial contacts have been made across the paddock, but nothing concrete has progressed to the point of agreements. This will be a story that rumbles along all season, and you can be sure that as the performance picture becomes clearer, particularly after these Miami rule tweaks bed in, teams will start making their moves. The driver market always finds its rhythm eventually, and with big names like Verstappen and Hamilton in the mix, this is one to keep a very close eye on throughout the year. Over at Williams, and Motorsport.com has the details on Alex Albon's refreshingly candid assessment of where the team currently stands. Albon insists there is genuine potential for Williams to take steps forward this season, but he's not sugarcoating the challenge. He admits it is not going to be an easy road, and you can see why he'd say that. Williams started the season on the back foot after skipping private testing in Barcelona due to delays with the FW48. Then, in the opening 3 rounds, they were fighting against an overweight car, which is a significant handicap when every tenth of a second counts at this level. The team has been working hard to claw back performance since then. But there is optimism, because Williams are bringing an upgrade package to Miami, and Motorsport.com's James Vowell's coverage adds further context. The Williams team principal has spoken glowingly about both Albon and Carlos Sainz, praising their lack of ego and their total commitment to the team's goals. Vowell says those qualities are exactly what a team in a recovery phase needs. If the Miami upgrade package delivers, Williams could be set for a much brighter second chapter to the 2026 season. We've got a couple of brilliant stories to round things out before the outro, starting with something that shows just how powerful F1's global appeal really is. Motorsport.com reports that Franco Colapinto drew a staggering 600,000 fans to Buenos Aires in a single day. Argentina hasn't been on the F1 calendar for almost 30 years, yet the turnout for Colapinto's appearance on the streets of his home city surpassed the typical attendance at many actual Grand Prix weekends. The 22-year-old has become a genuine national phenomenon since his F1 debut with Williams back in 2024, and the passion in Argentina for a homegrown F1 hero is absolutely electric. The push for a return of the Argentine Grand Prix is growing louder, and with numbers like that, it's hard to argue against it. And finally, this one has the internet buzzing. Motorsport.com reports that McLaren's promotional poster for the Miami Grand Prix, illustrated by artist Matt Taylor, has got fans absolutely convinced that the team is planning a special retro livery for the race. The poster features a Sega-inspired design, and eagle-eyed fans have spotted details they believe are a nod to Ayrton Senna's legendary 1993 win at Donington Park. McLaren have said nothing officially, but in the world of F1 social media, the speculation is already at fever pitch. A retro Senna tribute livery at Miami would be absolutely stunning, and knowing McLaren's flair for these moments, we wouldn't rule it out for a second. And that is a wrap on today's Genai F1 news. What a time to be an F1 fan, a teenage championship leader, major rule changes, Senna livery rumors, and 600,000 fans turning out in Buenos Aires. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Drop a comment below and let me know, are you excited about the Miami rule changes? And do you think Antonelli can hold off Russell for the title? I'll catch you in the next one. See you then.